Hello and welcome to Rando Rob. Each week on Rando Rob, I'll be showing and discussing one item from my large collection of collections. New shows appear every Monday, and throughout the week, I'll be adding older episodes of Rando Rob that were previously only available to my Patreon subscribers. You can watch episodes of Rando Rob on YouTube at youtube.com/Rob O'Hara. Just look for the Rando Rob playlist. Audio versions of the show are available on my website at podcast.robohara.com or through iTunes. Just search for Rando Rob. Thanks for watching or listening, and I hope you enjoy this vintage episode of Rando Rob. Hello and welcome to another episode of Rando Rob. This is the video series that I do for all of you guys who support me on Patreon. It is definitely, I hate to even say the word labor. I was going to say labor of love, but it's not really a labor. I really enjoy doing Rando Rob. The problem is I get behind on so many of the other things I'm working on, podcasts and blog posts and things I'm writing and stuff like that, that Rando Rob sometimes comes out a week late or so, but I'm trying to stay on top of that. And so for this week, I have plucked something off the shelf in front of me. Now, if you've watched enough Rando Robs, you know that the shelves behind me are toys. The shelves over there are lunch boxes, software in boxes, some books. There's books over here. And then the things above me here are drinking glasses and a few other random odds and ends. But I've pulled off a drinking glass that I thought I would share with everyone this week. And as you can see in the picture that I've included for this week's episode is a picture of Pancho's Mexican Buffet. I knew a little bit about the history of Pancho's Mexican Buffet, but not as much as I wanted to. So I looked up some facts, and Pancho's, let's see, what did I write down over here? Pancho's opened in El Paso, Texas in 1958. And the restaurant was founded by Jesse Arambide. Now, Jesse had two very specific skill sets that he combined. And if you ever had the pleasure of going to a Pancho's Mexican Buffet, you might be able to guess what they are. Number one, his mother was a cook. And so his mother taught him how to prepare all these different Mexican dishes. But number two, Jesse was in the Navy, and in the Navy, he learned how to prepare food for lots and lots of people. And so if you've ever been to a Pancho's Mexican Buffet, you know how those two things came together. Pancho's was a Mexican buffet that felt almost like a cafeteria when you walked in. So it was a buffet that you didn't serve yourself, for starters. Now, I'll back up just a little bit. The first Pancho's was in El Paso. He moved over to, I believe, Fort Worth. Around here, we call it DFW because it's Dallas/Fort Worth. Dallas and Fort Worth are about a half an hour apart, maybe a little further. But so that's the DFW area. So he moved to the DFW area. And then from there, Pancho's moved a little bit north to Oklahoma City and as far east as Louisiana. So that's kind of the little part of the country where Pancho's buffets existed. Now, when you walked into a Pancho's, you walked into a lobby, and the lobby funneled you into a hallway, and you walked down this hallway, and then there you were greeted with a cafeteria style buffet. So customers were on this side. There was a glass divider, and employees were on the other side. And you moved down the line, and the employees would ask you, you want enchiladas? Sí or no? And you would say, sí. I would say, yes. And they would say, how many? And you could get, I think, up to 3. And they had cheese enchiladas. They had chicken enchiladas and beef enchiladas. So sometimes you would say one of each, and they'd give you one of each. And then you moved down a few feet, and there was the beans and rice guy. Maybe the beans and rice guy was first. Beans and rice? And you say, see. And the guy would give you a scoop of rice and a scoop of beans. And it was all on this, like on one of those metal hot plates. And so you kept moving down. And then there was like a cold food area where there was someone there that would prep tacos. You could get crispy tacos or soft tacos. But there weren't that many things on the buffet, maybe a dozen different things. Maybe not even that many. I mean, you had your enchiladas, you had taquitos, tacos, beans and rice. I don't know, maybe not that many more things. And then when you got to the end of the line, you paid. Okay. And then you went and you went and sat down. So you took your little plate. And this is the thing that Pancho's was most famous for, was at every table, there was a Mexican flag. Now, you may have heard of other restaurants doing this. I don't know if Pancho's was the first, but it was the first one I ever experienced, where when you finished your plate and you were hungry, you were still hungry, you would raise in the middle of the table, there was the little, flagpole, and you would raise the flagpole and you'd have the little Mexican flag there. And a waitress, there would be a couple waitresses, and they would come around and they would say, what else do you want? And then you would have to just come up with memory what was up there. You'd say, a couple of enchiladas and a couple of tacos. And they'd say, okay. And they would go get it for you and bring you another plate with that food on it. And you could do that 2 times or a dozen times. It just didn't matter. Now, let me see. Well, first of all, let me show you the item that I've plucked off the wall here. This is a drinking glass from Pancho's. Now, if you, by the way, I stuck a piece of paper in here. This is a trick that I learned from eBay sellers. If you want to display your glasses, take a piece of just white paper. You could use other color paper, I suppose, but just take a piece of white paper, and I usually fold it down so it doesn't stick up over the top, and then just roll it up and stick it in there. Now, this glass has kind of a unique shape, and so it's a little wonky, but it works, and it really helps show off the artwork. So here's the Pancho's guy. I'm trying to hold this in a way where you can see all the artwork, but that was Mr. Pancho. There's not much on this glass. There's not a date. There's a little thing over here that says Pepsi, which now you can barely see, but it says Pepsi collectible or collector's series. But this is the only Pancho's cup. There's not a series of different cups. If you go to eBay and type in Pancho's restaurant, you'll see dozens of these for sale. They sell for $20 to $30. People have a lot of, at least in this part of the country, I think a lot of people have good memories of Pancho's, which is like having good memories of White Castle. And I mean that in the sense that, like White Castles will tear you up. You have White Castles, your stomach might hurt. It might not be a pleasant experience. And then people go, oh boy, I sure miss those White Castles. And that's kind of how Pancho's was. Pancho's, a lot of people describe their food as kind of like those Mexican frozen dinners. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but it certainly wasn't great. But unfortunately, what happened is as time went on, the quality went down. That's undeniable. And so let me see if I can find here. Here we go. This is the Yelp page I'm looking at here for Pancho's. And here are some of the reviews for Pancho's. You have to scroll down because Pancho's is no longer around. Well, there are a few. I'll talk about that in just a second. I'm not plucking the bad ones out. I'm literally starting at the top review, and this is on yelp.com/biz/Pancho's Mexican Buffet, Oklahoma City is the site. So this is the reviews for my local Pancho's. Review number 1. Pancho's, by the way, 1 out of 5 stars. Pancho's Mexican Buffet, been around a long time in Texas. When I moved to Oklahoma, I thought, all right, a little taste of home. Man, it was bad. Like having tasteless, by the way, the grammar on this is so terrible that I'm trying to read through it like it says Tastel's freezing dinner, but it's a tasteless frozen dinner. Nothing like home. Not too clean, but the service was good. Only thing that was, but service alone won't be calling me back anytime soon. Pass, just keep on driving. And this is from 2010. 2010. And that is the most recent review. Next review. 1 out of 5 stars. I agree with Aaron G. That's another review, must be on here. If I could give 5 negative stars, I would. The establishment was filthy. Food, ugh. Was that food? Don't go there. Next review. 1 star. Worst food I have ever eaten. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's definitely in the negatives. Food tasted horrible, cold, and to find hair in the shredded cheese was the killer. For 2 adults and a child, $30 is ridiculous for crappy food. Next review, 1 star. Oh my gosh, I didn't know what the heck has happened to this place, but yuck. It was so gross and dirty, I almost didn't make it to the bathroom when I got back to work. My dad is no longer allowed to pick. Next review, 1 star. Absolutely the worst food I have had in Oklahoma City. It's awful. I cannot emphasize this enough. Do not ever go here. You will be severely disappointed. Next review, 1 star. I could keep doing this forever. If I could give them negative 5 stars, I would. I took some friends here just to prove to them that a place existed that had worse food than a homeless shelter. I think a fried bologna sandwich would be better than this place. It seriously reminded me of a reheated TV dinner from the 1980s. I would encourage people to eat here just to experience what the worst food on earth really tastes like. Next review. I'm only going to do a couple more. 1 star. Frozen TV dinner, quality food at best. Sopapillas are flat and almost gray in color. Even had a second batch requested and the server said he thought the first one was old dough. Ew. Why did you serve it in the first place then? Second batch wasn't any better. Nicest thing is you could get full on a lot of crappy food, but for nearly $10 a person, I say spend it elsewhere. Next review, 1 star. I'm just skimming now at this point. The cheese is imitation cheese. It tastes like melted yellow candle wax. Also, the meat is nasty. I've tasted better tasting Alpo. Why would you taste Alpo? I don't know who thought this was a great tasting Mexican food, but they obviously didn't have any taste buds or eyeballs. But they did have a really strong stomach because nasty food aside, there were flies on the buffet and the pudding cups they had sitting out there had skin on top of them. Which screams to me that they've been sitting out for quite a while. The only thing they have going for them is the decor, so I'll give it 1 star for that. Or should I say, I'll run 1 star up a little poll for that. Next review, 1 star. Next review, 1 star. Let's see down if there's anything left at the bottom. 1 star, 1 star, 1 star. Every review. And then the last guy, last lady, Destiny G, 3 stars. Pancho's used to have extremely good food, but lately it has not been up to par. Although they still do have excellent service, the wait staff is very friendly and makes sure that you are well taken care of. Also, their local musical talent is a nice delight. It is still not a bad place to grab a quick bite for lunch. So that got 3 stars. Good for them. Everybody else, though, 1 star. And when I was a kid, I remember, buffets. My family really enjoyed buffets because my family was into value. And so they would go to any place that was all you can eat. We went to Chinese buffets. We went to Golden Corral when I was a kid. And we went to Pancho's because it was all you can eat. It certainly wasn't $10 a person. It was like $5 a person when I was a kid. And so we would go there and pay our money and load up on, not great, but still pretty good Mexican food. Now, Pancho's was located not that far from where I worked, about 10 minutes away. And they had a to-go lunch thing that would feed like 8 people. And there were 4 of us, sometimes 5, that would order out for lunch. And so you would get 10 tacos and 10 taquitos and 10 burritos and then you got cheese and salsa and chips. I mean, it would feed an army. And it was like $40 or something, $30. I don't remember. But so we would do that. We would go pick that up for lunch and bring it back to work. And we had a custodian that would come and clean our room after lunch. And his name was Juan. And he would say, "Hello, it's Juan." And he would come in and then he would go, "You guys done with this Panchos?" And we'd say, "Yeah, Juan, we're all done with the Panchos." "Okay, I'll pick it up for you." And he would pack it all up and put it in the to-go pack and take whatever, the stuff that we hadn't eaten. We would sometimes we would set him out aside a little, like a to-go thing or whatever. But he would take everything, all the burritos and tacos. I mean, everything was individually wrapped, and he would take all the rest of that. But we certainly loved our Panchos. Now, I will tell you this. If you were not a regular connoisseur of the Panchos, it was not uncommon to get a little rumbly in the tumbly after having some Panchos. Your stomach might be upset. You might have to go to the restroom at some point after lunch. And I remember at one point at work, we had a couple of salesmen come. We had asked them not to come, and they showed up, and then they came to our area, and they were trying to sell a product that we already had a product that did that was much cheaper. We were not going to buy their product. And so they came to our room and they gave us this pitch. I mean, it just really tied up, and we were busy, and it tied up a busy part of our day. And so they said they were flying out that afternoon, and we said, "You know what? There's this place called Pancho's." So we sent them to Pancho's, and I like to think that they sat there with their stomachs rumbling while they were on a plane flying across country the rest of the afternoon. Who knows? So yeah, I don't remember when I got this. I don't remember if I got it at a thrift store or if we actually bought it. I mean, it's possible that we got it at Pancho's and that, it just came from my house because we bought a lot of those McDonald's glasses and Burger King glasses and stuff like that. And this is not a glass you would have had in the restaurant. This was more of like a to-go kind of novelty type glass. I think in the restaurant, you had those plastic tumblers that everybody drank out of. But if you're a fan of King of the Hill, I know there's an episode where they go, and I don't know if it says Panchos or not, but they go to the restaurant and they have all you can eat Mexican food, and Bobby raises the flag and they get more food. And it's, Mike Judge is from Texas, and that is definitely at Pancho's. Like I said, I don't remember if in the episode if they call out the fact that it's Pancho's, but that's definitely what it is supposed to be. So in 2000, let me look at my dates I wrote down here. In 2010, it says the company had 40 locations left. They got up to almost 60 locations at one point in time. In February 2012, the Pancho's corporate shut down operations. All corporate-owned restaurants were closed. Phone lines were disconnected, and the website was removed. And so that is when our Pancho's closed. The Oklahoma City office closed in February of 2012. So it does say on Wikipedia that they have changed to a more Cuban style cafe. So I don't know if that means they don't do the buffet anymore, but it says there are 4 locations left, 2 in Dallas Fort Worth and 2 in Houston. So that, it's a bummer. We like going there. Certainly enjoyed. It was not good food. It was probably not good for you. But it was a fast lunch. It was a fun dinner to go, and the whole spectacle of going through the buffet thing and raising the flag and doing all that, that was kind of fun. I do remember that we went there when my son was right under, well, it was when he would have turned a year old, and he turned a year old about 2 weeks before Christmas. His birthday's right before Christmas. And they had a Santa set up in a chair where you could have pictures taken with Santa. And it was right in front of the end of the sopapilla or tortilla machine. So somewhere in our family photos is a picture of my wife standing next to Santa, who's holding my son, and in the background is just a giant machine with tortillas coming out. And I mean, if that picture doesn't sum up the goofiness of Pancho's, I don't know what does. So, man, here's a toast to you, Pancho's, man. I love the idea of Pancho's. I miss Pancho's, and I love this glass. So, to all my patrons, thank you for your support. I published an episode of You Don't Know Flack about an hour ago, so that should be going to your feeds now. Last night I streamed The Incredible Machine, so you can find that on the Twitch, on my Twitch page, and it's also been uploaded to YouTube, so I'll add the links to that if you want to watch me play The Incredible Machine. And either tomorrow or Saturday, I will be releasing the next episode of Like a DOS, which will also be about The Incredible Machine. So I think that covers everything. Thank you guys so much for your support. I appreciate everything, all the feedback, and all the listens and the shares and just everything. It means the world to me. So here's to you, a toast to you from me and Mr. Pancho. And I will be seeing you guys all very soon. See you later.